everyone, welcome back. So here we are sailing into week 6 of Voyage 16, and I hope everyone is having a good week. We've had some crazy temperatures where it gets either super hot or it's super cold, but the good part about it is it doesn't stay too warm or too cold for very long. So you just kind of wait it out and then it changes before you know it. And I do have a fan running in the background. There's some extra noise that was going on, so hopefully that doesn't affect the video too much. I know I've done the fan before and I haven't really noticed it. So at any rate, we'll go ahead and jump into what the voyage is up to. Once again, we're at Voyage 16. We are in week 6 of it. We do have 6 whales joining us for this venture. And then it is for $3,640. And it's for Discover One. And with that Discover One, we are planning on paying that line off and then not using it. And a lot of it is because we are just going to eliminate a lot of lines to make life super simple and just only have one line in the end. So let's see what the numbers did this week. We start off on January 9th having a payroll check for $1,147.76. And with that, we did go ahead and put $147.76 into savings, and $1,000 was applied to the savings payback. So last week we ended our savings at $1,119.79. We did have $11.34 that was able to be put back into savings after the bills. And then we had that payroll check of $147.76, giving us $1,278.89. And basically with this on the after bills part, what I do is I essentially put the $1,000 into the emergency fund checking, which actually is really just a backup checking as well. And I just verify all the bills, roll through it, and then I have an idea of what's going to be left, and then I just return it. And it's mainly just to have some padding and cushion just in case I calculated something wrong. So with the savings back portion, we gave ourselves $1,000, and that paid off that $988.66 of bills we had loaned ourselves from last week. We had line of credit loans for $200, which we applied $5 towards, giving us $195. We still had a balance of $562 in savings for our mortgage, so we applied $5 to that. So we still owe ourselves $557. An Old American Express bill for $308.39, and we applied that little $1.34, giving $307.05 as what we owe ourselves. So with the savings, we owe ourselves $2,059.05. We then applied $1,000, which then left us owing ourselves $1,059.05. And this just shows how the balance started at $1,278.89. We did add that $1,000 for savings payback, so it's at $2,278.89. So then we go into where we take out again. So we start off with that $2,278.89. We did take out $911.53 this week for bills, and that's broke into student loan for $181.53. We did take out $100 in cash, which we are trying to do all of our miscellaneous expenses and dine out and other things just with this $100 in cash a week, so that way we have a budget. We did apply $20 to Netflix to the credit card we used on that. We set aside $85 for the electric bill, $25 for the Citibank payment that will cycle out on the 14th, and that way we could just pay it right away when that cycles out. And also that second Citibank, we set $75 aside for that when that cycles out on the 14th. We then had $25 for YouTube, and then we applied $400 to that Discover One. And that gives us the savings balance of $1,367.36. So with the checking, which we still call the emergency fund, and we had the $1,000 in there. we anticipate spending $911.53 on bills, and we should have $88.47 left for savings to be returned after that the bills have cycled through. And I usually know by Monday and Tuesday if that should equal out. We then look at our Voyage 16 log, where on January 9th we were able to apply $400. That brings us down to $2,740 that is now owed. And this just shows that the due date is February 13th of 2026. And if we don't make that deadline, it'll bump up to 16.74%. We will try and see if we can't get it done in the next 3 weeks, but if not, we do have a contingency plan. So this one I thought I would just kind of update it as we go along. So this is, as of last week, we still owe $3,140. And this week we paid the $400, so now we're down to $2,740. So worst case scenario, January 16th, we plan on doing 548, January 23rd, 548, January 30th, 548, and the same with February 6th and February 13th. So that is the plan to see if we can get that done. If not, we do have some backup thoughts on that, which I'm not going to worry about just yet. I'm going to see how close we'll get to having this done. So we did get our 75K paid off. So this is the captain's log. So on week 6 on January 9th, we paid $400. So as of right now, our Voyage debt payoff is $75,194.25. So that's a nice, exciting milestone. And then the next one will probably be 100K. Because I think working in 25Ks is kind of a neat, and it gives time to get that accomplished. So then we go to credit available, and with Visa that just cycled out, and there is 211 available. I did get the Discover one completely updated since we're going to be eliminating this line. So it is at a limit of 22,000. We currently have 2,740 we are using of that. So available would be 19,260. And then once again, we plan on just eliminating this line once we are done with this voyage. That will be one more line of credit that we will not be messing with. We then look at what happened with monthly bills. So last week we had paid the American Express with American Express paid the internet bill, and we also had Discover One where we paid $25 out of our savings / line of credit. We paid mortgage for $781.66 out of that savings line of credit. We paid car insurance $155.33 out of that savings line of credit. And then for this week, we start off with a student loan for $181.53, which also came out of that savings line of credit. We did have YouTube for $24.65, which got paid with a Citibank card, and then we did put funds on the Citibank. The Discover One, we did do a payment of $400 out of that savings line of credit. American Express, we paid $307 to that, and that we also used the line of credit one, as well as we had the Netflix that was applied to the line of credit one and then to the American Express. And currently we plan on, the electric bill is like $84 and change. I just went ahead and put $85 for now. I think it's due on Wednesday, so I haven't decided which card to cycle that through. So, but I do have the funds available. Just basically what I'm going to do is pay off the electric bill and then make a payment to the credit card. And I'm thinking about doing it to the Citibank because that's going to cycle out on the 14th. So we have that one Citibank that only has just the phone bill due on that for $25, so we have that set aside. And then we also have that $75 for that Citibank too, for that to be paid. And then looking at the loans that happened so far, I did get the mortgage updated. We did start off with $47,113.06. We paid $137.41 of interest, $178.72 went to principal. The ending balance is $46,934.34. We did escrow for $465.53. Loan 1 is updated. We now have a balance of $8,052.82 for the month of December. Well, actually, it's due on January 1, so yeah, it'd be December items. We did $32.11 of interest, $159.11 of principal. And then the 2 student loans are updated. Student loan A is at $5,417.68, where we paid $21.03 of interest, $89.46 of principal. And then student loan B is now down to $3,403.01. We did $13.20 of interest and $57.84 of principal. And then with the lines, I think I will keep them on this sheet, and then I will just update them at the end of each month. And I think that will be the better picture for when that happens, because one of them, like line 1, we actively used it this time, but the other 2 are kind of just hanging out there right now, just receiving monthly payments. So with the line of credit 1, I started off by having $285.98 available there, and there was a American Express for $307 that was due on the 27th, and I wanted to just go ahead and get that out of the way. So with the line of credit 1, it started off with $11,714.02. I then put $122 into that line of credit. The $122 came from $82 of the internet, and then $20 from the Netflix, and then $20 for miscellaneous. So that came to a total of $122. So that got applied to the line of credit 1. And then I went ahead and took $307 out of that line of credit 1 to apply towards the American Express. And basically what it was is the internet, the Netflix, and that miscellaneous item, that was items I was going to pay towards the American Express. And then I realized with this amount available, I would just go ahead and put the money in the line of credit 1 and then take the full payment out. That way it's done for the month. And what I'll do now is anything that I run through the American Express, I'll just run through that line of credit 1 first and then take it to the American Express. So that's what I did, a little bit different this time. For my calendar, I can see that there's a lot of items that are being paid and taken care of. So we are looking at, I think next week we only have that Discover 2 for $196 is what's on our radar right now. And everything else, like we got that Netflix paid, and then we're just waiting for these Citibanks to cycle out. And then, okay, so it's on Thursday the 15th is when that electric bill is due. So we're already planned ahead for these items, and we're just waiting for those to happen. And I think I'm waiting for, I think I'll wait for that Citibank to cycle out, and then I'll use that to pay the electric bill, and then I will pay the $85 to the Citibank. And then I did round it up, so there's going to be extra change where it's not like the actual dollar amount, so we get a little bit of headway that way. So if you followed me this far, the code word is unicorn. And I thank you for joining me today. Please like and subscribe to follow my debt journey. Please let me know if you have any questions or comments and put those down below. And I will talk to you in the next video. Thank you. Bye.